based on our observation. Okay, well, when I take a camera and I'm looking at stars trying to move, and I get it, the reference point, the tree, the light, all the stars in a fixed spot, and one of them starts to move, over and over and over again, I go back to review the footage later on that morning, and guess what? I record nothing. It's all black, or the tree's missing, or the reference point's missing, or the star's missing. It's always something. It's always something. You know, or sometimes I'll catch a real great image and I'll have 20 bugs bite me at once, all on my arm. It's like unbelievable, with the spray on it, the off spray. They'll bite me and I'll be like, I can't do the, I'll itch myself. Oh, thank you, God. Anyways, so whatever, moving on. Crazy. So aliens, they're popping into our universe. And they're popping in the universe in what way? They're just showing up out of nowhere. So people assume that when they see these flying saucers, well, they must have came from a galaxy far, far away, or they must have came from, you know, thousands of light years away. The closest star is Alpha Centauri. That's 4.5 light years. That's 4.5 years it takes the speed of light to get there at 186,000 miles per second. That's a lot of distance in a large amount of time. And based on our radio telescopes, from what I understand, we don't see any really activity from that star. So what's the next closest one, you know? 25, 30 light years away? I mean, space is just so big, it's illogical. Well, they must be getting here somehow, so they're either warping space-time, or they're breaking the speed of light, or they got quantum entanglement, which you have a, you know, they found a way to transfer that spin up to a spin down, and they can just show up through teleporting like they did at Star Trek. No, it doesn't have to be that complicated. Since we know there's an information-based reality, we understand this is virtual. So, somebody created it, clearly. An intelligent mind, or minds, multiple people. That simulation they can just show up out of nowhere. They can come walking out of a forest. All they have to go is to a place where there's no observers, which is plenty of room over the Pacific Ocean, and just show up. Here's a craft, boom. So with these UFO crafts, are not from another galaxy far, far away. They're made from the simulator. Now, UFOs are not really something that a mass audience can observe, with the exception of the Phoenix Lights and a couple of other random situations. Most of the time, they're individually based. And that's done to give you a nudge that, hey, you know what? Our reality is a little bit bigger than you might think it is. So perhaps one day they'll have a larger audience, but I don't know if we're quite ready for it. I think we will be one day. But these aliens are nothing more than avatars. They have to be digitally processed to come into this simulation. So if you create a virtual reality and you want to enter that virtual reality, you could. But if I entered a Hollywood virtual reality set, you know what would happen to me if the camera focused on me? I would be invisible. Yes, I'd be able to walk around invisible. Can they do that? Yeah. Sure they could. Could they, you know, so how do I create a body in a Hollywood set with virtual reality? I would have to digitize myself or create a character. Maybe bigger. Maybe I could be a Sasquatch in there. And they could create a Sasquatch figure. And then all of a sudden I have to wear some sort of type of special suit to be in that virtual reality so I can register it. Because the eerie thing is, if I enter a Hollywood set that's a virtual Hollywood set with virtual reality props, if I have a camera to go look around, what happens when I face it to the mirror? There's nobody there. So I'm looking at myself in a mirror and I don't see myself back. Because it's a virtual mirror. And that's something. So you have to create an avatar. They can create avatars like humans. They can create all types of beings they want. So let's say somebody wants to create a flying saucer. So we say it's anti-gravity. They're interdimensional beings, and they flew from, Zeta Reticuli, which is 45 light years away. They get here in 1 second. They're going fast in the speed of light. All that stuff Greer says. No. Here's the program code. They type it up. They plop it in front of above the Pacific Ocean, and there you go. So this craft we think is anti-gravity. Sure, well, the craft probably has no limitations. It probably has a special finite code, a finite state code of unlimitless G-forces, unlimitless speed limit, no inertia, None of that stuff they have to go through. I'm a virtual being. You're a virtual being. We have limitations based on the rule sets of this virtual reality. If they are from outside of the virtual reality, they don't have any rule sets. So they would have these godlike characteristics, such as biblical figures for religion back in the day, and also some people that are alive today. They could have godlike qualities that would absolutely enable them to have these powers that would be like magical to us. We just couldn't believe it. Well, they can do that. They can walk through walls. They can fly. They can be invisible. They can turn into dust. They can create fire from their hands. They can do whatever they want because they can get rid of all of the restrictions that we have every day that we think is fundamental and real through our laws of physics and the laws of nature. Throw that out the window. When you're outside the simulation, you can program anything you want. It doesn't have anything to do with them coming into the virtual reality. Okay, gravity doesn't mean anything to my craft. There you go. They got an anti-gravity craft. I want to be able to go unlimited speed limit. Okay, there you go. We'll never catch them. We'll never catch them. Because even if we master anti-gravity, we're always going to have some sort of weight. Just like you can never get to absolute zero. When you get to absolute zero, the temperature, where you get, beyond like the Kelvin scale, like the coldest temperature possible, it's always going to be one temperature or a 0.00001 temperature. Like the speed of light. We'll try to catch it and catch it and catch it. There's always going to be a 0.00001% that we didn't get. You understand? So these constants of like never getting to absolute coldest temperature possible, we can't. It's always going to be a 0.1 that we can't get. Let's try it again. Then it's another one. It's another one. So the decimal point to the right just keeps growing forever. They don't have that restriction. And that's why no matter how technologically advanced we get, our crafts are never going to catch theirs. They'll always have that edge because they can take theirs to absolute zero. They can take their craft beyond the speed of light. You understand? They don't have to apply to any of these rules. So Jesus could have been somebody, well, he is obviously somebody very important. We'll still talk about him today, but this is an individual that could have lived 20 other lifetimes. Okay? And when he came into the simulation, he was just as virtual just as you and I, but as he got older, 9, 8, and 10, whatever, his being level has already experienced 5,000 years of being reincarnated and learning and learning and learning. And that's why he had more knowledge about humanity than scholars and priests that were 50 years older than him. This individual had more knowledge than the whole panel of scholars. Where did it come from? Well, it could have came from his being level of being reincarnated. So although we just see a baby and all of a sudden he's 9 and 10, he knows more than everybody. That's miraculous. How is that possible? Then some other things, the healing, the people that were sick and dying he healed, walking on water, reading people's minds. That could have been a special being that was either maybe a creator himself playing a character, or it could have just been somebody who was legitimately a real virtual being here, but had a lot more experience than anybody else ever had. So he was a reincarnated being with a lot more knowledge than everyone. So although he was 10, he was more like 5,010 from the being level. Just an example. So these aliens are nothing more than avatars that have been digitized to enter the simulation. Whatever you see in this simulation has been digitized. If it is not digitized, then it is invisible. That's it. It's that simple. That's really what it boils down to. So these alien crafts do not have to come from all these, hundreds of thousands of light years away to get here. Because if they really did, we would have detected some sort of radio technology or laser technology, light sensitivity telescopes that would have been able to give us some sort of direction of hearing where they're coming from. We would have had some direction of where our radio is listening, our radio telescopes, to give us, hey, there's some action going on here, but we get nothing. And yet they show up all the time on these individual bases. How? Simulation. They just drop it right in there. There they are. There is no signal to chase. SETI is not going to find a signal because it comes from other, which is an other universe. They don't come from you know, where they had the KICK, K-I-C-K 85437, whatever, the Dyson Sphere that had a 22% reduction in light. They're focusing all the radio telescopes on that one star. Guess what they found? Nothing. They're going to continue to find nothing because it comes from another realm. It's not part of this information-based universe. It's somewhere else. So the aliens are just depictions of avatars that are controlled or created by the simulators themselves, the creators of the simulation themselves, maybe a team of scientists, maybe a team of individuals that want to explore this virtual reality, and they don't want to get hurt, so therefore their cheat codes is no gravity. Their cheat codes is we want to go 1 million miles an hour every direction with no G-forces. We virtual people cannot compete. UFO Mike Cody, thank you for listening. Have a great day.